Good evening, viewers. Welcome to round 3 of the Tanso Racing Group TCR League. We are in Norfolk. We are easterly of the UK, and we're here to watch a bunch of TCRs take on the 200 layout, which is the shortened layout. It's been in existence since 2011, and we're just coming to the end of practice now. What can I tell you from practice? Well, we've got 12 cars running. Most of them are within about 1.2 seconds of each other, and they're all driving without the tow. Obviously on circuit now we can see, I believe it's Stevenson and Mould running in the tow. Dan Mould, who won the last two races, in the last round, round number 2, Alton Park International, he'll be looking to improve. He's not at the top of the standings as yet. He's done 17 laps in practice. That's the end of the practice session. So we're going to go into a quali in a minute, but we've got quite a close pack. And on the 200 layout especially, we should have some really good racing. So my name's Rob Sutherland. I'm not on my own. I'm joined by Rob Jackson. Hello, Mr. Jackson.
Good evening, Rob. How are we doing?
I'm all right. Lovely to be back.
That's it. It's hopefully this week we don't have many issues, or well, no issues. Hopefully, so yeah, hopefully we've sorted all that out.
The iRacing gods. So we're missing a few drivers from last week, but gained a few drivers who didn't race Alton Park International. I can give you a quick rundown while everyone's doing that outlap. Currently, top of the championship, Neil Stevenson, with a 1 win, 2 poles, couple of fast laps. He's 130 points, and we stretch a few points back, 7 or so points back to Craig Walters in the lead SRL machine with 123 points. Third, Derek Crowther. Fourth is John Brown. Those are the guys over 100 points, 36 points back. Mark Brown with an E, who's done very well in practice. He looks like he's got some good pace around here. And Dan Mould, one of the first drivers, I think the highest driver, he's only done 2 races maybe. He's got 2 wins last time round, 82 points. So he'll be looking to take some more points. And JT Johnson, who won last week's prize at the end, I believe, despite him being the only driver not eligible for it. So that had to be re-rolled, and I believe Derek Crowther might have won that, which I believe was some merchandise for the sponsor, which is, I believe, MK Designs and Tribal Clothing. So that was good. Right. Anyone on track? Is anyone going to brave a lap or two?
Doesn't look like it at the moment. Just everyone's still sat in the pits, keeping a bit warm. So of course this week it's lone quali, whereas every other week, the previous round was open quali, so everyone's on track together. But I believe this is what a lot of the drivers prefer in this series, is lone quali. So they get out there within 10 minutes, get 3 laps in, and set your fastest time.
So what the main difference with iRacing 3-lap quali versus a 10-minute quali? Certainly for this circuit, where there's 2 big straights, the front straight called Centre Straight, the back straight called Bentley Straight. There's a lot of tone involved. So with an open quali, you'll find people will work together to get an advantage down the straights. But with 3-lap quali, it's very much on the pace, but it's also very much on how you can switch the tyres on for this TCR car. You want outlap couple of flyers, and they'll be switched on. I should imagine everyone's running the same setup. There's no real setup advantage. The cars are as equal as possible. And it's really just how you switch the tyres on to get your fastest lap. Right. Have we got some times in already?
We have got a couple of times in, yes, that's right.
So there should be overlay on the stream. So we should see some times. We can see that Ben Denya's set a 17.1, which is about 3/4 second off where we kind of expect him to be the Ignium driver. It's an Ignium 1-2 at the moment, with the car number 16 of Neil Stevenson following. And Nick Clibbins, the Simtech car, who I got mistaken for the last race, he is 17.83 at the moment. So this is their first 5 laps, a few 18s, a few 17s. Hopefully we should see them come down by a second or so. As a Okay, so we're probably not going to see any drivers on this qualification, just due to technical issue. See them in a race. But if we can give you a rundown, 6 people have qualified so far. This is a circuit for off tracks. Certainly, you can cut on the exit of Montreal into T1, and the Brundle-Nelson complex. You can run off track in the bomb hole. We've seen a lot of errors coming into Murray's, which is an incredibly tricky corner on the last lap, on the last corner of the lap before you got to center straight start finish. And there's a lot of lines that could be cut. We can see 9 people have set a lap at the moment.
Just looking at the timing, if you're watching the stream, you can see on the timing tower to the left, a lot of red boxes were over it, and that's when drivers are going off track. So that is affecting the quality performance. You know, once you go off track, the track limits, the time will be deleted.
And they've only got 3 laps, lots of pressure. Denya's just set a 16.9. That's significantly faster than Nick Clibbins, who's improved to 2nd place. Mark Brown with an E, 3rd. John Brown, 4th.
Have you seen the gap there, though, between Mark Brown and Nick Clibbins?
I've seen the gap with Dan Mould and Ben Denya, because it looks like Dan was significantly sandbagging in practice. He was sort of middle of the pack. 16.6 is on there. Dan does know how to quality these cars. So that's a significant 2nd lap he's done. He's now on to his last lap. Fraser Garrity improves to 3rd position with a 17.0. You see some improvement down the grid. Craig Walters, bam, there you go, 2nd position. I was waiting for that with a 16.7. He is now on he's 3 laps. So that's lap complete. That's quality complete for Craig Walters and Ben Denyer, I think. And they round out the first couple of rows. Close times. They're closer in. I think they're closer in practice because you can get a more relaxed sort of lap. You're really pushing it for these qualies. We can see quite a close middle of the pack. It's going to be some good racing on the 200. It's very much a tow fest. If you sit behind the car in front, you get a tow. If you sit behind a couple of cars in front, you're going to get a significant tow. And at the end of these straights, there's a pretty high commitment corners with Brundle and Riches. And that normally introduces quite a lot of fun into the occasion.
Yeah, like you said there, Rob, when you got a long straight into a braking zone, especially in the TCRs, which they're known for being a bit more rough and tumble with each other, you can maybe see a couple of little dives or some shoulders out and forcing their way through with the use of the tow.
We're going to see a lot of 3 wides, I think, on the back straight, which the thought terrifies me and probably excites the viewers, but it's going to give a lot of excitement. Murray's the last corner. You should come out of the tightest corner on the circuit. That's going to stack the cars up a little bit. So it's whether the exit out of Murray's allows drivers behind to get alongside on the pit straight and get it closed and done by Riches. If you go offline into Riches, you take a tight entry, it can be quite fun on exit. So we're going to see a little bit of fun in T1. Just currently waiting for the last few minutes to count down. All drivers look like they've qualied. See the order. Full cars on the screen now. On the timing stack, 12 cars. I'm looking forward to this. So the format of tonight's event, we've got a 20-minute heat. Then there's a 20-minute feature. I believe it's a full reverse on the feature. So Dan Moore will get to enact his back-to-front challenge, I should imagine. There's no limit to fast repairs. If you bend a car, and some people will bend a car, come into the pits, fix it, and you can have your very own race of the rest at the back. There is an incident limit for going off tracks. That's going to be quite key, especially with the tow. You're going to be near a lot of cars. So hopefully you won't see anyone DQ'd. Just no one's out on track in a minute.
No, we've literally got just over 1 minute left before gridding, or before the session's over. But yeah, looks like everyone's in the pits ready, waiting. So we just need to let this next minute tick by, and then we can get the results, the official results for the qualifying session, and run you through the grid.
Excellent. A couple of... I see Neil Stevenson's a little bit out of where I expected him to be. Same with Mark Brown as well. So we're going to expect some jockeying, I think, in the early stages, if they all get away. I'm quite excited for this race, Rob. What do you think?
Yeah, it's shaping up to be a classic TCR event, really, isn't it? Close times, all cars very similar, and we know all the drivers know each other quite well, so they know how far they can push each other. So yeah, it should be an interesting evening tonight.
We're just coming down to the last seconds now before we grid up.
Yeah, I've just on the timing tower now on screen. I've just got the actual gap between each driver, the car in front and car behind, and again they're all very close. The biggest difference was between Derek Crowther and David Smith, and it was only 0.9 of a second. No, sorry, 9/10 of a second.
Right, so cars should be gridding shortly. My colleague, Mr. Jackson, will take you through the grid for what is round number 3 of the Tanso Racing Group TCR League.
There we go. Yep, so on screen at this moment in time now, we've got the official grid. So we've got Dan Mould in first position, followed by Craig Walters in second. Ben Denyer is in third, with Fraser Garrity in fourth. John Brown in fifth, and Nick Clibbins in sixth. Mark Brown is in seventh, alongside him is Neil Stevenson. Then we've got David Smith and Derek Crowther, and then Alan Brown, and then at the back of the field, JT Johnson. So hopefully now... Go on, sorry, Rob.
That wraps up your six-row grid. I think it's 6. Yes, I can count. 12 divided by 2, I'm pretty sure is 6.
Just count on your fingers.
Yes, maybe the toes. There is a slight incline going up the hill for this start. So hopefully no one stalls it on the line. But as we build down to the start of round number 3, we can see the SRL machine is on the outside. Dan Mould's on the inside. Bit of a light flash at the back. I think they're all flashing their lights.
Just ignore me, press that by mistake.
So 10 more seconds till the light sequence starts. 20-minute heat. Tension's building my end, I'll tell you. And green flag. Away we go up the hill for round number 3. Mould looks like he's got a decent start. It looks like Craig Walters is bogged down into third now, passed by Ben Denyer, who's guarding inside. Looks like Craig's going to get forward. Oh, there's a pit manoeuvre on the start. That's pretty nasty. That was John Brown in the Tango machine. He's round onto the start-finish straight as we see them hop over the curbs now down to Montreal corner. It's an Ignium 1-2. The red car behind, I think it's Mark Brown, just taking the inside position for fourth position from Fraser Garrity, who's now down. Ooh, he's been turned around. There's an Ignium car round off as well with Neil Stevenson. Eventful starts. Neil Stevenson's rejoined just behind, I think that was JT Johnson, who sees him coming and going, but now we can see the toe in effect. We can see Daniel right up behind Daniel Mould as they go through Brundle for the first time. It's all about entry. It's a bit of a close from Craig. Now Craig will be champing at the bit to right the wrong of the start and the mistake he made. We just go on board now on the roof. And we can see now going into Coram. It's nice that they name the corners around here, in case you might forget. We can see Daniel just goes a little bit twitchy at the start with cold tyres. As he lines himself up for Murray's. This is the last corner, tightest corner on the track. A little flick left off to the right, use a bit of exit curb, and they're on.
It looks like Craig got a bit of didn't get a good exit as Ben did there, so you can see that the gap opened up now to 0.8 of a second, while Ben chases down Dan in first position. But if we just go further back to Nick Clibbins, he is, well, he was 1/10 of a second when I switched, but he's now 0.2 of a second behind Mark Brown.
and getting looked at by the... Clibbins looks on the outside, thinks against it, because he knows there's a big straight, tight corner up, and now he's just tucking in behind. Better pass him at the end of the straight. Is he in the toe? There's a bit of a light flash there from Mark Brown. And we've still got a good bunch of cars together. There's no one really... There's only about a couple of drivers really off the back of the track. I think John Brown's called it a day with a bit of damage. And we can see Clibbins just taking his time to work out where Mark Brown is strongest. I think we've just seen a pass. Is that Derek Crowther that's passed? No. David Smith has dropped. David Smith is off. He's had an accident. Maybe we'll get that on the replay.
Yep, we can go back now and have a look at that replay.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Change of direction. The rear lost, and he's off. And he's having to reverse onto the grid. Nice little J-turn. John Brown's back on track. For anyone can see, we go straight back to the Clibbins fight. This is fight for position between Clibbins in the 7 car, 6 car Mark Brown. Clibbins shows himself on the inside. No defence from Brown yet. Oh, just a little bit of a touch. That wasn't the best thought out move from Mr. Clibbins there. Both drivers look like they're okay. Looks like there's not a lot of damage there. They're both going to rejoin the circuit at the back. Just ahead of JT Johnson. That's disappointing. Accidents do happen. See, at the start, it's still Mould and Denyer holding the controlled 1-2. See JT just passing Nick Clibbins there to recover the 10th position. So there's a good little race at the back already between people who have fallen off in the opening laps, and we've run in 5 minutes in, we're a quarter way in, so there's plenty of racing left between these guys. We can see a little bit of damage on Neil Stevenson's car there, just on the front. That's a little bit shorter than it came out of factory. Fraser Garrity's round again. Shower gel.
So that's a couple of people there now, isn't it? Who's gone off at the left-hander at Brundle into Nelson. Like you said, with the heavy braking, the car's trying to turn, the back end's getting loose, and then just coming around more than what the front is.
I think the Clibbin-Brown fight, a couple of positions down, is reigniting a little bit. We can see Stevenson's also quite close behind Mr. Clibbins. They're all in each other's toe now, so they'll all pull each other along. And it looks like it's Stevenson who's going to be shaping up quite quick. If he has damage to that car, and if it is affecting his straight line speed, we'll be thankful for Nick Clibbins being there right now, because that would be pulling him along and helping him out. You can see, I think David Smith just got past JT Johnson for 9th position. The yellow SRL machine of Dave Smith, who had an unfortunate outing at Alton Park. I think he had server problems and had to drop out of race number 2. We can see that's the battle for 9th, 10th and 11th between David Smith, JT Johnson and a recovering Fraser Garrity. If we go up to Derek Crowther, who we've not talked about yet, but he's having an excellent race. Plus 6 positions for Derek Crowther, who's kept it nice and clean, along with Alan Brown, the 23 machine, who's currently behind him on the circuit in the green SRL machine, and the, I can't describe that colour, Insignia machine.
It's kind of like a greyish blue, really, isn't it? I went to say the proper colour, but myself, my mind went blank and I couldn't quite think of it. Like a teal. Is it a teal?
For a teal, yes, I think so. Yeah, I need to go down B&Q into the paint aisle and have a look.
Yeah, let's get a few Dulux colour samples.
It's almost the weekend. We're really old, so that's pretty much what we should be doing, I think. It's strange that we've seen a grid full of Audis and we've not seen a single Nardo grey livery. It's kind of tweaking me somewhat. The first couple of positions, Denyer's managing to hang on to Dan Mould's coattail. That's a controlled 1-2, I should think. Not quite a multi-21 yet. Craig Walters he's still pretty close in 3rd position.
Yeah, he's just over half a second, isn't he, now behind Ben? So, like you say, he'll be getting the toe. So as long as he can stay there and stay in the back for the next 15 minutes, he can then launch an attack near the end of the race.
And we'll know when it's happening because Ben Denyer will drop from Dan because he'll be looking in his mirror. And
I was just about to say, yeah, sorry, Rob, spoke again. Ben is now 1.5 seconds behind Dan. In fact, yeah, sorry, it's I can't can't read the timing screens. But yeah, Ben is 1.5 seconds behind Dan, so he is losing time to him ever so slightly. Even though the last lap of the race for Ben was the actual fastest lap of the race. And just as I say that, Nick Clibbins goes even faster with a 16.5.
And he is right up behind he's right up behind Mark Brown. Now he goes off the circuit. Just having a little bit of washout on the front end. That won't do his tyres very good around this corner. But it looks like Mark Brown's struggling as well. It looks like he went deep into that corner now. And Clibbins is very close as we go on board. He's just broken a toe from Neil Stevenson behind. And he's just right up the bumper now. What's he going to do? Is he going to look? Nope. I think there's a little bit of a push that says, look, I'm not going to bother. Let's keep going. He's dropped back. He's gone off circuit. This isn't optimal. You can just see them flick through. Brundle now line themselves up to Nelson. Brown is really struggling with his tyres. Mark Brown is just overcooking some of these corners, especially into the bomb hole. That's quite tidy. Hold the brake. Nice exit into Coram. We'll see how he does here. But it looks like, I don't know if they're working forward. I don't know if they're working ahead a little bit. Alan Brown last lap was a 1:17.1. Mark Brown last lap 1:17.4. Nick Clibbins obviously went purple last lap. So I don't know if Nick's using Mark to go forward. Mark does show the racing line. Nick sticks on the inside. I don't know if he's trying to avoid a toe.
That's a bit unusual. I would have thought he would have tried to stick in the toe, to be honest, there.
Yeah.
Unless again he's just letting Mark Brown know that he's still there and he's not, well, as we say that, he runs wide off the track there. I wonder if he's a bit slightly
we can't have damage because he's not had a significant shunt. So if we go back to the long shot and see how this develops, I don't think he's close enough here to have a look. He's certainly not applying the pressure you would imagine, considering how close he's been. Neil Stevenson's loving this because he'll be back in the toe now. The more mistake these guys make, the better he gains. Biggest gainer so far, 4th and 5th. We can see someone's dropping. He's off.
As we said, yeah, Mark, no, he was on stream, Mark. There, he went off again, coming into the hard braking zone to the quick left-right chicane before bomb hole, and the back end just decided to come round and say hello.
So that's a bit of a shame from the Brown Motorsport machine. Currently running a good little recovery race. He's now dropped. That's unleashed the Clibbins, and the Clibbins is only a few seconds back from Alan Brown, who's had a pretty untroubled race with Alan and Derek ahead. But that's a big shame because he was running really, really well, I think. But there's about another 8-9 minutes of the race left. There's still race number 2. It'll be a reverse grid, so it'll be further towards the pointy end. We look forward to any more battles that are on circuit at the moment.
You got Derek Crowther, who is only half a second in front of Alan Brown. So these are the closest on track at the moment in time. The next two, again, is Neil and Nick, the two behind them. They're again, very similar times to what these are.
And that's a very tight line from Derek through Nelson there. So it should be helping Alan out a little bit through bomb hole into Coram. I think the battle for second position has abated a little bit. I don't know if Craig's dropped off. Yeah, he has. He's a little bit slower. I think there was a mistake in one of the sectors in the last couple of laps. He's just dropped back a little bit. One can hope. Quite a gap at the moment. We can look further back. Neil Stevenson's still behind Nick. They're trading tenths with their lap times, 16.8, 16.5. I don't think Neil's going to be getting close unless there's significant errors by Mr. Clibbins in the Simtech machine. And I think there is damage on Mark's machine from when he hit the wall at Nelson. was a much better line through Brundle from Fraser than we saw it. Just opened the Nelson corner up. He's just putting a bit of pressure on now. Shows himself down the inside of bomb hole. I think he will try it on the start finish on the centre, I should imagine, as they go into Coram. Mark Brown's not going to be enjoying driving a damaged car around this circuit because it's all about the straight line speed. And this is the end for them. This will be the start of their 10th lap. And we can see David Smith ahead in the yellow SRL machine. He's +1 position. Currently in 8th position. And it looks like Fraser's just dipped out at the toe a little bit. It's just dropped back. Hopefully that battle will lighten itself up coming through the next few corners now. He's much better through Riches. Really got a car that handles a lot better on the front end, I should imagine. It's a nice little switchback out of Montreal onto the Bentley Straight. Bit of a light flash there from Mark Brown.
I wonder if Mark's got his gears mapped to his lights or something, because I noticed early on in the race, coming all the way down that straight, he was flashing his lights.
So he'd have been up into 4th there as he comes down again. Just, he can't quite get it gathered up coming through Brundle, and that's given Fraser a bit of a moment to think about maybe passing. So go through bomb hole. We'll see it. They'll be going up the gears now, so he should be flashing his art away if he has got it mapped.
Yeah, no, unless he's got a button close to, he's touching a button close to his light button.
It's a very relaxed league here. It's not a league where if you flash 3 times in 10 minutes you get thrown out. It's a very relaxed social league. On every other Friday. It's round number 3. Very welcome to new drivers and anyone really who fancies racing on a Friday night. Into lap number 11. We flicked forward to Derek Crowther. I can't speak. Put my teeth in. This is battle for 4th. Looks like it's reigniting at the moment. And these guys have been pretty much line astern for the entire race, both +6 positions. I think we've just missed Stevenson getting past Nick Clibbins. And Mark Brown's dropped again, so it looks like Mark's fallen off. It's all kicking off.
Yeah, it looks like Nick actually went off track, so that's how Nick got past him. So if we just jump back and have a look on a quick replay.
Last corner. You're very much out of control coming through that section at times. So a little bit of a mistake. Didn't get it rotated enough. +1 position for Neil Stevenson. He's now +2 into 6th position. We expected him to rise a little bit more, to be fair. He's still having a fairly good, clean race after the opening few laps. That's your 6th position. I think if we flick back to 4th position now, we can see Mark Brown still troubling Fraser. We can see, here we go, this is a battle. Alan Brown finally side by side with Derek Crowther. They get close, they decide they're too close and open it back up again. And just down the straight now, out of each other's toes for the first time in however many laps. And they just come into the high load Brundle corner. Oh, Derek just has to lift thinking go through that. These guys race each other quite a lot. They're quite familiar as they go into Bum Hole. It was called Bum Hole. Had to rename it. Very rude. Are we past the watershed? I think we are. Into Cobb. That looks like it's a patient move that's got done.
Yeah,
And
that was
Alan Brown to 4th.
Textbook, getting alongside, going in on the brakes, and then getting past. Nice clean move, wasn't it?
And I think Geraghty and Smith think Smith's just had enough. He's dropped 2 positions. I think Clibbins is very close to Neil Stevenson. Neil Stevenson obviously has a bit of front damage, and we can just see now over the start-finish straight, just got a few more laps left. Clibbins is now applying pressure to Stevenson. And maybe we'll see. He's been having a bit of trouble through Riches. Looks like he's got through it okay there. Defensive from Stevenson. He's rejoined the line. Getting closer into Montreal. See how their exit does. Bit of a later apex from Clibbins now. He's right up the toe. I've not seen that many dive bombs today, Rob.
No, it's been quite civil, really, hasn't it? We were talking earlier on, thinking that with the drafts, there might have been and because the cars were so close, there might have been a couple of dive bombs up the inside. But no, everyone's been quite civil, and they've been gentlemen drivers, I should say.
Yes, maybe probably apart from the first lap or so. where a couple of cars did get involved. There's been no hard sends. Maybe we'll see one. Maybe this is Nick Clibden's time. So we just go on board, looking at the Ignition machine, from the Simtech machine, into Murray's. The gap's closer between Brown and Crowther than I thought. I don't think... actually, they are dropping back a fair bit. There is a difference. Last lap for Crowther was an 18.18.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he was the cork in the bottle for Alan Brown. And then maybe there's a race on. Proper little race on the last lap or so.
We've got about 2.5 minutes left. So potentially 2 laps. So Neil and Nick were a second quicker than Derek on the last lap. So potential, like you said, to catch them. They could maybe smell blood and off to go.
Clibden's now. Closer he's been in a while. You can see the damage there on the Ignition machine. He doesn't commit, or does he?
No, he just holds back there, doesn't he? I think he went for the sensible move.
Bit of pressure on Stevenson. Goes a little bit wide through bomb hole. And we're going to see how his tyres are in Coram. Oh, no, they're going to bomb hole now, sorry. Just into Coram. Just see them trying to induce the steer to get the rear turn. We are using the baseline setup. It is a fixed setup. Maybe it's a little bit more pushy than this circuit needs. They both hop the curb. That is a significant curb, and it can really, really, really ruin your day on that corner. You see them go up the box now. We are riding the roll cam of Nick Clibden's machine. This is round number 3 of the Tanso Racing Group TCR League. We're into the closing stages of the 20-minute initial heat race. Just flicking through. Rich is lined up for Montreal again. There's a lot of close, but not close enough in this race, I think.
Yeah, I think them incidents in the first lap, it's just split the pack just that little bit, and then no one's been able to quite gather the pace really needed to challenge each other, especially with the damage to the cars as well.
And there's been not enough compression to really set things alight. I thought that they might be on the back of Derek by the end of this lap, but it looks like it's line astern still.
Yeah,
just a difference in lap time. Looks like Derek's struggling for pace a little bit. He's dropped into the 18s. He's the only driver in the 18s. We have a driver in the 20s. At the back, oh no, sorry, he isn't. Fraser Garrity's in the 18s as well. So, but the significant one is Derek, who's dropping back from Alan now, and it's going to do well to keep his 5th position, I think.
It's I think, and if there's another 2 laps in this, is this going into the last lap now? Let's just have a look at the flag waver, the marshal, if we can see him.
Well, he's obviously watching the Clisson because he's right up the inside of Neil Stevenson now. If we flip back one car, and we can see, gets in nice and early. He's left room by Neil Stevenson now. They can both open up and go down to Montreal. Clemens, is he going to stay in there? No, he's yielded. He's yielded, he's dipped back. He's going to fight another lap. I think no white flag this lap from what I saw. Maybe he's going to try again. I think he's just a bit too far back now on the Bentley Straight for this.
Yeah, it looks like he's get away from the corners, especially the 2 tight left-handers before the long straights. Just not quite as good as what Neil seems to do, and it just drops him back just that little bit, just out of range to get the draft to actually get up into the braking zone alongside.
He looked for Brundle, but he didn't commit. Going too wide into Brundle's a lot different to going too wide into Rich's. It can typically end in a lot messier way. So he's just sitting back now as they go through Corm. Line him up again for the straight. Make sure you get a good exit. And this is like a chess match at the moment.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Nick, this is actually the last lap, so he's not quite done it to get past. And
so we missed the flag wave. We missed the flag wave. Dan Mould takes P1. Ben Denyer takes P2. You can see a little bit of a wiggle from Nick there. P3 was Craig Walters in the end. And Alan Brown in 4th. 5th position, Derek Crowther. 6th position, +2, Neil Stevenson, who we saw quite a lot on stream. Nick Clibden's 7th position after a couple of offs. Fraser Garrity, 8th position. Mark Brown, who had a fantastic middle of the race, in 9th. David Smith, 65, is in 10th. And John Brown rounds up the runners in 11th. And it looks like JT Johnston took to the pits quite late on in that race. He's in 12th position. But Rob Jackson, he will be in 1st position for the reverse grid.
That's right. So if we if we just jump over to the official results, and as you just said there, Rob, you got Dan Mould in first, followed by Craig Walters. Oh, Craig Walters in second. We missed that, didn't we, on the last lap? Then Ben Denyer in third, Fraser Garrity in fourth, and John Brown in fifth. Nick Clibbons in sixth, with Mark Brown seventh, Neil Stevenson in eighth, and David Smith in ninth. Derek Crowder's in 10th, and Alan Brown is 11th. And in 12th position, we have JT Johnson, who will be pole position on the following round. And ignore my name there in 13th, because I joined as a driver instead of a spectator.
That was the quality results. You got the wrong results.
Yeah. You let me go through it all then, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I was wondering. I was trying to work out the reverse grid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
Hopefully we'll see a better start than we did the last one. I'm going to clip that. I'll send it to you at Christmas.
Anyway, there's the proper Heat 1 results now. And so, yeah, I've just read through everyone's name, and you can see that they're on screen. It's definitely not my night tonight, is it?
No. I'll tell you what, who is night? It is Ignium's night. That's the front row result lockout. SRL, you can see they were in third and fourth. There is no team championship here, but if you've got a team name next to your car, if you've got a livery, he's bragging rights, essentially. Derek Crowder is actually a Insignia driver, I think. And I think Fraser Garrity is as well. You might need to update that.
Yeah, no, we'll update that. They weren't on the information I had, so yeah, I'll get that sorted. So just while we have a little 5-minute break in the warm-up session, which actually there's about 3 minutes left in that now, we'll just go over to whoever's on the track and just see some images of the cars driving round.
Right, okay, and while we've got a little bit of dead air and we've got cars circulating, we can discuss who was the driver of the first race, Mr. Jackson.
It's I don't know. It's a tough one, really. I suppose. I don't know, really. Yeah, sorry. I was looking at something else. Then you caught me by surprise. So
well, I think we had a very controlled 1-2.
Yeah, it was.
I think Craig dropped. So there was a bit of a mistake at the start. Didn't do well from him. I think Derek Crowder had a fantastic race one, kept out of all the incidents, just moved himself forward to score points, and he's currently third in the championship, and he finished significantly ahead of Neil Stevenson in that last race, who leads the championship out with 103 points. So good little gains from Derek Crowder. If we look ahead to the reverse grid, are we going to see the same teamwork between Denyer and Mould as they try to last the first challenge? And remember, the first car those guys will be trying to get past is Craig Walters.
Yes, that's. I think there will be a bit of teamwork. I think one of them might sacrifice themselves for the other, and try the moves, and then the guy behind, whoever it is, will try and sneak their way through. But like you said, the two cars in front of him are both SRL guys, so it will be a bit awkward for them to get past, won't it?
Yes. We've mentioned this before. Craig does like a race. It's always quite entertaining to watch him race. Maybe not entertaining to be in front or behind him sometimes, but it's very entertaining to watch him race. So we're going to see some quite good start if they keep it clean. I'm interested to see what Nick Clibbons are doing at second race. He's starting from 6th position. He's faster than his position where he finished in the last race. He couldn't just quite keep it together. The feature race is the same distance as the same heat as the first race. So we'll be expecting to see however many laps we did in the first race. Let me double check. It was 16 or so laps. I think we'll be expecting to see 16 laps.
Yeah, it was about 16 laps, wasn't it?
Looks like Neil Stevenson's dropped from session. We'll see if he reconnects in time for the start. I don't think he will, actually. We're very close to the end of the warm-up.
Yeah, let's see, 4 seconds.
So we might have a space on the grid. in 7th position. Oh no, he's back. Will he? Will he get on grid in time? I don't think he will.
Because you only get a minute, don't you, for the features to grid up.
And it will go full duration because there's a 13th car on circuit. We don't talk about that.
Yep. No, we'll ignore that one.
So race number 2, the feature race of round 3 of the Tanso Racing Group TCR League. We're going to see drivers take the grid shortly.
And
the
just
big question is,
go on, sorry, Rob.
the big question is, will Neil Stevenson get on circuit?
I was still waiting for Derek to join, or as I say that, he just joins now. Craig Walters is currently not gridded up either. Oh, Craig's back on. So yeah, just got Neil, who's not on the grid.
So we're just waiting for the final cars to reach the grid. We'll go. Oh, that's it to start. So we are missing drivers from the grid. But off is JT Johnson, takes the green flag. He's just passed immediately by John Brown in the tanker machine. Craig Walters is busy in the rearview mirror already, and we can see Mark Brown. JT Johnson's dropping. Just not a very good start from him. Fraser Garrity now is just trying to pass him around the outside of Montreal. Just touches a little bit of grass. You know, they're all through T1 all right. John Brown currently in the lead. It's a Brown up the front. We're looking at the middle of the pack. Fraser Garrity now going through Montreal. He's got David Smith in the yellow SRL machine behind him, and then the other Insignia car, Derek Crowther, behind. All line astern, and this is what we're on about, the compression. Nice little long shot now. There's a bit of a flash from, I think that was from Craig Walters maybe in the SRL machine, trying a bit of a head game with Derek Crowther now. I think he wants to pass because he knows he's got mould behind him. Looks like Neil Stevenson has joined at the back. He's not too disadvantaged. So they go through side by side. Looks like Al Brown has got past Craig Walters now. Craig just shows on the inside. He really wants past Derek Crowther as soon as he can. Side by side ahead between Brown and JT Thompson as JT shuffles backwards. They go in through corner into the last corner now. Just see a little bit of a fight at the front as well between Brown and Brown for the lead, just off the circuit. Fraser Garrity, that's going to impact dropping maybe back into. We can see some door banging behind me from Craig Walters already. At the end of the first lap, if we go back to Craig, we can see now he's got Brown behind him, just showing up the inside. This is not good for him because he's got the Ignium cars behind him. He's going to take advantage of this. One of the Ignium cars has already passed. I don't know their colours yet, but they're already passed on the outside of Richards now. Brown shuffles to the outside, no contact. Oh, just a little bit of contact as he loses control under braking. Oh, it's going a bit crazy. That's the Tanso car. Just has JT Johnson. It's all shuffling back. Just caught himself offline through Montreal, and we're just still shuffling the order around. We can see the Ignium car of Mould is just tucked in behind Al Brown now. In fact, I think it's Mould, Brown, Johnson, Daniel. Oh, that's a big one. A bit of a tank snapper, lost control. It's all kicking off at the back as these guys try and come through. And there's just another car out of left field. That's Mark Brown. He was in second position. This is busy.
It's both the Browns went off there as well, didn't they? It's
well, John Brown's still in the lead. Nick Clibbins, predictably, has had a whale of a start. He's +4. He's taken advantage of the reverse grid. There's a lot more in this race than there was in the last race, which is what we expect from a reverse grid.
That's right. I think now, especially with the quicker lads, you know, Dan's in 7th position now, so he'll be chasing down Craig. But just at the end of the previous lap, the two SRL cars battling each other, I think that just opened the door then for Dan to get that little bit closer and put more pressure on them. And of course, from that little bit of pressure going around Richards, you know, Dan managed to squeeze past on the outside and gained a few more positions.
Battle for position, second position. Fraser Garrity's got a run on Nick Clibbins. He's got the job done, I think, coming into Brundle. I think Clibbin will yield, and he has done now. And they just sort of come in a bit more committed from Fraser as he comes in bit more loose at the rear, just tucks it. Yeah, Clibbins is going to take advantage, going to get right up behind him. He knows it's early. The thing about a reverse grid race is controlling how fast the guys behind catch you. And Clibbins probably going to be controlling that quite well from his driver's seat, I should think. If we flick back further behind, Dan Moulds +5 already, up to 7th position. Walters is still in front of him now. They're still behind Crowther. Crowther's not giving this up.
The Derek and Craig similar lap times for the last lap, but Dan, he was 2 seconds slower in his previous lap, so now he's got a bit of fresh air in between him and the cars in front. In fact, yes, he's now doing a low 17-second laps.
And Stevenson, who's car number 3 of the Ignium train, he's in the 16.8s already, so he's taking advantage of that. So I think if we flick back to the start of the Crowther as they go on to the Bentley Straight, I think we can just see a shot back there of all the gaps. And we can see that Walters is right up behind Derek now. Shows he's not going to try from back there, is he? I think Derek sees him there, gives him the room maybe. Is Walters going to do? Nope, he's not. I think Derek entered that corner looking in the mirrors because he did miss the apex there. Luckily, Craig backed out of it.
He did well to hold that there.
It's not a fun corner to go in offline.
Oh no. Just looking forward in front, Fraser is closely up behind Nick.
Did we see those positions change again?
We didn't, but just looking at it, Nick went off track. I'll just flick back to the replay now as they're entering the pit straight. And
so just through Richards, we've seen that before, haven't we? We've seen Nick do that before.
Yep.
I think if we go back to live, Garrity's less than 0.2 from him still. They're going through. That's the same corner again. One lap later, and we see a bit of a door bang behind from David Smith and Derek Crowther. And Derek Crowther's finally succumbed to the pressure that Craig Walters has submitted, and so has David Smith as they touch doors again. Oh, 3 wide going into Bentley. This isn't good.
Dan got the he got stuck behind David Smith there as he had a bad run.
He covered nice and early on the straight, didn't he? Now, and we're going 2 by 1 by 1. You might have seen this in the red arrows. Denya's going to look down maybe the inside under braking. Smith covers off quite late. I think they're all getting through quite clean. Bit of a tap there. Denya's just taken a little bit of damage on the front from David Smith. And we're going to see Dan Moulds applying quite a bit of pressure now on the back of Derek Crowther, sorry. Derek's and David's. And profiting at the back is Neil Stevenson, just taking his time, seeing how all this plays out. I tell you who has profited, Craig Walters.
Yeah, he's gained 6 positions, hasn't he, already in the race?
But he's also absolutely checked out from Derek Crowther, who's been keeping the Ignium boys at bay and fighting with David Smith at the same time. Just see Mould show the nose there. Just a double apex corner there. He might set him up for Montreal. Bit of the grass from David Smith. Stevenson looks to get himself involved now. Oh, that's a bit. They contact. David Smith's off at Montreal. They didn't leave each other room. Mould profits and now goes into 7th position. And we can see the Ignium boys coming through as a pack. And Al Brown just at the back of the shot. We missed Mark Brown going off earlier. Looks like he has rejoined the circuit and he is circulating. He's 4 laps in. We can see right at the front now. This is the battle for the lead. This is Nick Clibbins versus John Brown. And there is a significant speed difference between these guys in the last lap. So this is going to be maybe a job done. We'll see how John handles it. John obviously quite quick. He's currently 4th in the standings after having quite a good week last week. From memory, or last race. Looks like the Ignium car's just gone off wide on the circuit there. Or was that Derek Crowther? I think that's Derek Crowther.
No, Neil did go wide there. Did go slightly wide.
So battle for P1 is aborted for another lap as Clibbins sits behind. Brown through Richards. And Adam Montreal as well. Still line astern. Fraser Garrity, who's having a brilliant race. He's +2 positions. He really survived the reverse grid. We are almost halfway through the races. Sorry, almost halfway through the race. And the quick guys from the back are only up to P5. Sorry, P4 if you include Mr. Walters, but there is a bit of a gap for him to gain. So this might come to fruition in the last few laps, I think.
Yeah, the Craig's definitely he's about 3/4 of a second on his last lap quicker than Fraser, so the gap's there for him to close down of just under 3.5 seconds. So we're about halfway through the race, like you say. So there's potential there for him to chase down. But then behind Craig, you've got Dan, who will be like a shark in the water, who's smelt blood. Will be chasing down as quick as he can. Yeah, so let's just see what the two last lap times are as they cross the line now.
I did notice earlier that we just seen the miss for the lead. They're passing. Sorry, there is a battle for the lead. They are side by side. It is Rich's again. It's one lap later, and we can see that Clibben's just up the inside, coming to Moultrie now. Much better braking for Nick. He does run a little bit wide on entry, and that forces John to just sit out a little bit. John's now dropped back into the claws of Fraser Garrity now as well. That's really balked him. I thought Nick had it stopped. He didn't.
Yeah, it's I've been one of them many a time where you go on the brakes, but you just don't quite do it enough, and you just go a little bit too deep in there, then, don't you?
It is a battle for ambition. We can just see John again, just getting a little bit out of shape, taking the tired line now. He'll be struggling with the grip maybe a little bit after start that lap. So battle for first for John has become a defence for second in the space of about 4 corners of this 7-corner circuit. So eventful for him, maybe profitable for Craig Walters, because now these guys are going to start. Just a nice little slide there. You style it out, Fraser. You style it out, son. I would say now is the halfway. We're on lap 9. 16 lap race in the last one. So I think now we can officially sort of call it just over halfway. We're just taking to see if there are some battles behind.
Yeah, just looking the 2 battles here are the closest on track. You got Neil, who's behind Derek by half a second. And then also Ben was behind Dan for half a second. So I think Ben, if he's a clever driver, he'll just stick behind Dan, don't give him any pressure, and then just use Dan's pace and get the toe from him to pull him along closer to Craig, who's further in front.
And for anyone who's wondering which car's which and can't see the numbers, there are different wing mirrors on the Ignium cars, so you can kind of work out that the red one's Ben Dania. The grey one. The yellow one's Neil.
Yeah, and the grey one was Dan.
The grey one was Ben. Obviously, they've got names on the door as well. But I need glasses to see those. I have seen Al Brown lining up David Smith behind. Those guys are quite close. They're within half a second of the circuit. They're recovering Al Brown. Oh, and there we go. That might be job done for Al Brown. In the green SRL machine. He's now back where he started, P9. And if we go to the start, we can see John Brown. We can see Fraser Garrity's finally got past John Brown. Oh, it's just a bit of a... That's our first hard send. And a bit of a smash from behind from Craig Walters. We have nowhere to go. John Brown is now facing the wrong way. His day's gone from bad to worse. He goes on the infield with Montreal. Just gets the car turned around before the straight. But we should be able to see a bit of a fight from Craig Walters now on the back straight towards the end of Bentley Straight. As he's got significant damage on his car. If we can go forward to Craig. You see how this is shuffled out. Looks like Fraser's missed the corner now. And this has all profited Dan Mould, who's now, not only is he right up behind Craig Walters, but he's +2 positions. And now he's shown the outside just into Coram. The outside does become the inside, but it's much a further way round. We can see some significant damage on the front of Craig's car.
Yeah, Craig actually lost his bumper, and just saw the bumper on the start of the back straight, just on the grass verge. So that will significantly hamper his top speed, won't it?
And we're going to see that coming down the straight now. That's also, in a blink of an eye, Craig's race has changed from a charge forward to third or to second, where he is now. Now he's going to be defending from Mould, from Denia, and maybe Stevenson, maybe Garrity. Depends how much damage Garrity's got on his machine as well. Dan does show up the inside. Hello, I'm here, he says. Craig's been around. He knows the pressures, but he will be looking in his mirror. He will be knowing that at the end of the straight there will be a car maybe alongside him, if not in front of him. We can see Mould right up his bumper now. Just shows him 3/4 of a car's width of tarmac now, and he's on the inside coming into Brundle. Is he going to get this done? Denyer goes wide behind just to get the optimum line to see if he can profit from this. Craig just chucks it in front, turns it, rotates it, and I can see the inside of an Audi. I'm looking for contact. They're leaving each other enough room at the minute as they come into Coram. This is probably one of the scariest corners to go alongside. It's going to become a very tight corner all of a sudden for Craig if he sticks it out. You can see on board from Denyer onto the roof, and he just gets around that, Craig. That's a fantastic corner for these guys to get through without damage. And we can see Mould now. He's in second place. Now he's plus 10. And he's only got Clibbins ahead of him. He chops in front of Walters. Walters dives back to the inside. Will Walters try it through Rich's? No. Will he try a late send through Montreal? Or will Denyer try a late send through Montreal? Goes defensive. And that's your second, third and fourth position. And we can see that Geraghty and Stevenson are nice little still behind. So we've got a good old train at the moment. There's a flash from Walters. These boys will all be on voice comms together, so they'll be talking. I'd love to be on the fly on the wall for that. Reverse grids always deliver, Mr. Jackson.
They certainly do, especially when you've got a group of lads who know each other and they've got confidence in driving alongside each other, and they've got the skill set to be able to do it. It always makes that little bit of excitement appear in the races.
So, in the last 4 or 5 laps, we've got Nick Clibbins out in the lead. You can see the timer stack on the second. Neil Stevens just gone wide again. That's going to give his tyres a little bit of hell, and we'll see that going through Richards, I should imagine. He'll do well now to stay on the back of this grid stay on the back of this pack, for the last few laps. And if we can go forward to Dan Mould and we can see just the gap between the first and second position, Nick Clibbins has checked out.
Yeah, the Nick's last lap was a 17.2, whereas Dan's was a 16.9. But he's got a 7.3 second lead there now, so as long as he keeps it between the white lines and trouble free, I think he's got this race sewn up now, hasn't he?
A bit of damage in the front. If we flick back to Craig Walters, we can see Denier's just going to try and line him up. That's his job for the next couple of hours. He has a little look and just backs out.
Yeah. I can imagine Dan will be screaming over Ignium team speak to tell him to, keep Craig busy, hound in from behind, and just gives Dan that little bit of breathing space up front to concentrate on trying to break the toe. And like I said, I don't think he can catch Nick now because Nick's now 8 seconds in front. But just gives him a bit of breathing space to concentrate on his driving and bring the car home.
So end of lap number 13, start lap number 14. We can see Stevenson behind, side by side with Geraghty.
Yeah, looks like Neil there got a good drive off the final corner and used that to his advantage to get alongside and past.
I thought Fraser might keep his nose in then, but there was just a little bit too much for a speed difference towards the end of the straight into Rich's. We can see Craig Walters still doing a fantastic job keeping hold of third position with considering the damage he has and the damage that Ben Denyer doesn't have. It's just done a fantastic job to keep it on the straight here.
He seems to have actually caught up to Dan slightly as well there now, because this gap is less than a second, so Craig will have the benefit of the draft as well, won't he, from Dan?
Yeah, and I just wonder how much damage Dan has on the front of his car as well, because we can see that that's not the cleanest front of an Audi they've ever produced.
No, well, if Dan is, which like you said, does look like he's got quite a bit of damage on the front. So yeah, he's obviously not got his top speed, similar to Craig. And that's just allowing Craig to keep the gap round the second mark and even sub 1 second. Especially running slightly wide like that doesn't help things.
And even wider at the back is the insignia car of Fraser, who's still behind Stevenson at the end of the lap. There is a line of Stern insignia. There is Derek Crowther behind. He's +1. He's had another race where he's going to score points. He's going to yield a couple of points maybe to Neil Stevenson in the championship, and he's going to yield a lot more to Craig Walters if it stays like it is.
Yeah, if we just jump back forward to Craig and Dan and Ben, the gap's still, it's a second between the three of them, if I can work me quick maths out. So yeah, I mean, there's a chance here. Yeah, we're coming up to the final lap soon, so if Ben wants to get on that podium, he needs to get a bit attacky.
That was a bit of a collection there from Craig as he just came in. He got very close to Dan's bumper.
Yeah,
that would have made a bit of late race drama if they would have made contact. I think Ben would have probably been quite happy, and the other two maybe not so much. And that has caused Craig just to check up a little bit now. And now Ben is very, very, very close. I've not seen as many go over that curb coming out of Murray's than I thought I would do. I've seen some proper mistakes there in the past in this circuit in these cars. And we can see Walters goes defensive, not full defensive. He opens up, leaves Ben car width, going through it. Now Ben just flicks it through. He's not going to get it done. He's going to get him lined up, but Craig just tightens up the corner just to get a defensive line from Montreal, as he's done many, many, many times before. And he's just holds him off for another corner, another lap. Keep chalking him off, and hope you can keep him behind you, and you'll get third position. And full defensive again from Craig, and we're looking alongside now. Ben Denny, you can see that just backs it out again. It's certain death if you go in a little bit too late there. Just looking further back, I can't see any fights. The Garrity Stevensons, I think, is a done deal. Mm-hmm. Further back, it's a couple of seconds each between. Alan Brown is +1. John Brown's still circulating, so David Smith, who's had a couple of offs. JT Johnson, who obviously started in pole position, is still circulating. I think Mark Brown's just a couple of laps behind. We saw him have an off in the chaos for the first 2 laps. I think that's the race over. We missed it again. We didn't get told.
It is, yeah. No,
Clibbins has taken the feature race win in round number 3. And that's his first win. He's very happy. He needed a wiggle for the SimTech machine. Second position, a bit of a crash behind, don't look. Second position, +10 then with Dan Mould. This is what happens. These guys are enjoying it, and all of a sudden it's turned into Essex Arena and the bangers.
I just hope none of them have got direct drive wheels.
No, that's a risk. Yes, want to buy new risks. So rounded off the podium, the second, third position for him tonight, Craig Walters. 4th position, Ben Denyer looks like he's crossed the line, and 5th, followed by the other Insignia car. Sorry, the other Ignium car of Neil Stevenson and the Insignia car, Fraser Garrity and Derek Crowther. And we were talking before about the 2 Browns, Alan Browns. There's 3 Browns on the grid tonight. How have I completely missed that?
Yeah, 1 with an E and 2 without.
Yes, and hopefully we'll get the final results on the grid, on the screen, and Rob will take you through the final results for the feature race and not quali.
I'll just double check, make sure that is the feature results. So these are the right results this time. So as you said, we had Nick Clibbins in first position, and behind him, 6 seconds behind, was Dan Mould. So another great night for Dan with 10 positions gained. And then rounding out the podium, you got Craig Walters, who was being hounded by Ben for the last couple of laps, who unluckily finished 4th. Well, I'd say unluckily, it's still a 7 positions gained for him. Then you got another Ignium car in 5th position with Neil Stevenson, and then you got Fraser Garrity followed by Derek Crowther in 7th, and then Alan Brown in 8th, John Brown in 9th, and then David Smith in 10th, JT Johnson in 11th, and then Mark Brown in 12th position as well there. So there's the final standings for this evening, and I think everyone's done quite well tonight, haven't they?
I think so. It has been that was a pretty good second race to watch back. That was kind of the more of the compression tow race than we expected. That the reverse grid will give. It was nice to a few mistakes here and there, but a good race overall. I think some nice passes. At least one hard send we saw. It's always nice to see a hard send in these cars on this circuit, and that wraps up the race number 3. So round number 4 of the Tanso Racing Group TCR Challenge is at Watkins Glen. It is on the 15th of October, in a couple of weeks. And Watkins Glen, much like Snetterton 200, really can introduce some quite good racing with these cars.
That's
So
right.
hopefully you'll join us there.
What does it say? What layout we've got at Watkins Glen?
It doesn't. I think it's full.
Full. It's, either way, it's another draft happy track, isn't it? And which does tend to some great racing.
And it's raced quite a lot in TCRs as well. So a lot of people are very familiar with it and how to race. And if they have the chicane is quite good fun in these cars. A lot of bad, great things happen. So
That's very true.
We'll bring this broadcast to a close now. I've been Rob Sutherland. My colleague's been Rob Jackson. Thank you for joining us for round number 3, Tanso Racing Group TCR League. And hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks for round number 4, Watkins Glen. Goodbye.
Stream's ended.